If someone's listening, Jay, and saying, you know, Jay, I get you. I do this work on myself. I meditate. I have solitude. I'm patient and caring with my partner, but they always seem to be mega stressed. And no matter how much I change, they're not changing. How would you advise them to approach their relationship?
Yeah, the first thing I'd say is that people don't change for other people. They change for themselves.
Yeah.
And I think this is something that we keep getting wrong in relationships. We think that people will change for us. We think that if we change, someone else will change back. We think of love as that exchange when we don't realize that anyone who changes a habit or a practice changes it for themselves. Now, I will say that, for example, like if you are setting a good example when it comes to taking care of yourself, chances are it rubs off on your partner. I know that with me and Radhi. So Radhi's always been very dedicated to her workouts for her mental well-being and her physical well-being. And when we got married, I was someone who was very focused on my mental well-being with mindfulness and meditation, but I wasn't necessarily someone who loved working out. I played sports when I was growing up, and that was my workout. And as I got older, I kind of got lazier. Now, when I would see my wife be dedicated, she would not negotiate with her morning workouts. At the beginning of our relationship, it used to play on my insecurities. I used to say, oh yeah, well, I'm working hard and you'll get time to go to the gym. Or I'd say, oh, I don't even have time to go to the gym because it would affect my ego. And then I started to realize, well, it upsets me because I'm not even willing to make that time for myself because of how important it is. And so without her even knowing, she was inspiring me to work out more. And today, working out and my physical health has become such a top priority. And it's not because she forced me to go or told me to go. It's because she set a good example. Now, let's say you're setting a good example, but your partner's stressed and they're not doing certain things. I think one of the first things I'd say is we usually like to tell our partners what to do. And we might say to them, oh, you need to listen to that podcast with Rangan and Jay. And they're like, no, I don't, right? Like, I don't want to do that. Or someone says, oh, you need to start doing this breath work that I learned from so-and-so teacher. And then the partner's like, well, I don't want to learn from that person. I think what we don't realize is we've got to help that person take the next step in their journey, not the next step in our journey. And the next step in their journey could be introducing them to books, teachers, podcasts that appeal to them. One of the things I often tell people is the reason why I sit down with so many different people on my podcast is because I believe that personal growth and self-development is so broad. And so, just in the last month, like Lewis Hamilton came on this week, and I know that so many people who are Formula One fans were learning about purpose through Lewis Hamilton. Or a couple of weeks ago, Kevin Hart was on the show. Now, Kevin Hart's a comedian. He's known to make people laugh, but people came and they learned about the man behind the movies. And so to me, people's entryway into growth and into creating less stress in their lives is not always going to come through the same route that it came for you. So the first thing I'd say is find out what inspires them, find out what it is that helps and supports them, what are their things. And if you really love them, you'll know what they connect with. The second thing I'd say is help them work on their stress, not work on your relationship. You want them to change how they are with you. But actually what's stopping them being their best with you is that they're not being their best selves for themselves. And so let's figure out the root of their stress and sit with them, talk to them, understand them. Don't go up to them and say, you're always stressed out. What's wrong with you? Our life is great. I'm good to you. That will put them on the defensive. You want to go up to them and say a few things. And this is really beautiful. This is from a study that was done in schools about how to give effective feedback in a way that doesn't defeat someone. I use this in my company. I use this in my relationship. I use it everywhere because it's not just for students at a university. It literally applies anywhere. They found that there were 3 key things you had to say. The first thing you had to say is that we have really high standards here. Now, you can't say that in a relationship. So how would you translate that? You would translate that to be like, I know that we have something really special here. I know that we value each other. You're acknowledging the fact that underlying all this stress, there is a deeper, real relationship. I know that we have a real relationship. I know that we have a special bond. I know we've committed many years to each other. You're setting the standard of what we have. The second thing you say is, I trust we can live up to that standard. I trust you can get there. People need to hear and feel. So it's like, I know you're going through stress right now, but I know you don't want to feel it. And I know that you can get beyond this stress. And the third is, let's figure out how to get there together. What do you need? How can I support you? How can we go through this together? And I think so often in relationships, it's so funny, Rangan. So often in relationships, people actually feel more alone because they don't feel their partner has the time to see them, to understand them, to hear them. And they feel like they're fighting that battle all alone, even when they sleep right next to someone.